a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
women's rights were reversed, undoing years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn again,
we must begin to act.
For the 1 in 3 women who have experienced violence in their lifetime.
For the 47... At first, I'll just say, I have panelists with me, but now go into the details. Oh. It is? Good.
Does it need to be switched on or okay? It's not working.
Million more women being pushed into extreme poverty because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
who deserve 50% of the power.
This year, leaders and change.
Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, young innovators, all of you who are joining us virtually from several countries in the world, good morning and welcome to you all. My name is Nohet Turimuchi and I'm incredibly honored to be the moderator of the 6th Gender Cafe that is hosted by UN Women Rwanda and in Kigali. And I am joined today with 4 incredible panelists that I look forward to introducing to you later. And before we start, I want to thank everyone who is joining us virtually, joining us from Kenya and South Africa, our colleagues from the UN Women East and Southern Africa region. And we have students and alumni of FAWE Rwanda joining us live from the FAWE Career Center here in Kigali. And I think they can see us live right now, live streaming from the Career Center. If you can see us, good morning. And for all of you who are joining us through Zoom, Twitter, YouTube, warm welcome to the Gender Cafe. Let us know in the chat who you are, where you're joining from, as we look forward to your participation. The theme of the Gender Cafe is gender equality, realizing women's rights for an equal future using technology and innovation for gender equality. And I find it an incredibly relevant topic, thinking about how the world has been digitized over the past years, but it's been incredibly accelerated with the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's allowed us, technology has allowed us to some extent now to continue businesses, to continue learning, leveraging technology. And also to connect with people. And I think this blended virtual Gender Cafe is a prime example of what we're able to do now as a result of now being able to be together physically. But we'll also talk about the challenges that billions of people across the world still face in accessing technology or ICTs. It is reported that 3.6 billion people in the world remain offline. And most of them are in the least developed countries, and most of them are women and girls. So we'll talk about solutions and opportunities to tackle this, this gender gap that comes from women and girls being left behind. And we want to raise awareness and support for innovative technical solutions that are contributing or fostering gender equality and are helping realize women's rights, which is what gender equality is about. Before we start, I'd like to go over the agenda or the format of the Gender Cafe. It will be a two-part event, which is a bit different. The first part of the cafe will be a panel discussion around the topic of today's theme. And then we'll kick things off first with welcome remarks that will be delivered by UN Women's country representative in Rwanda, Madame Fatou Lo, who will join us virtually. Next, we will hear short remarks from the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of France, Madame Cassiope Vienne. Then we'll dive right into the panel discussion with these extraordinary leaders in ICT, which I look forward to. Following the panel discussion, I will invite two special guests to join us. They're young people, they're extraordinary, and they have a message for the youth that is joining us today. And then we'll go right into the Q&A session, and we'll try to use the chat function. Please submit questions in the Q&A, because we want to hear your voice, and we want you to participate from wherever you are today. To wrap up part one of the event, we'll have closing remarks from the Minister of State in charge of ICT and Technical Vocational Education and Training, or TVET, Honorable Minister Claudette Irere. Then we'll take a short break, and then we'll reconvene again for the second part of the event that will focus on innovations now that are fostering gender equality. And we will have 8 young innovators pitch their digital solutions in front of a panel of judges. If you are on social media right now, please share your insights and learnings. You can follow us and tag us at UN Women Rwanda. And please use the hashtags #ActForEqual and hashtag Generation Equality. And we'll drop those in the chat function for you. Speaking of generation equality, I'd like us to take a moment to ground ourselves in the importance of taking action now to close the digital gender gap, but also take action for gender equality in all its forms. To help us do that, a short video will play shortly, and I will invite you to join Generation Equality. We'll cue the video.
While we waited, a woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
While we waited, a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
Women's rights were reversed, undoing years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn again,
we must begin to act.
For the 1 in 3 women who have experienced violence in their lifetime.
For the 47 million more women being pushed into extreme poverty because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
Who deserve 50% of the power.
This year, leaders and changemakers will meet at the Generation Equality Forum.
a forum to build up and strengthen women's rights for generations to come.
Let's show that we're standing up
so equality can step forward.
And in a year where it's virtually impossible to meet,
We'll meet virtually.
Don't wait. It's time to act for equal.
Further ado, I would like to invite Madame Fatou Lo, the UN Women's country representative in Rwanda, to deliver some welcome remarks. Madame Fatou.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you, moderator. It's really a pleasure to be joining you. Although it's virtually, I would have loved to be in that room with all of you. Great design, great energy there.
Great to see you.
Although the Honorable Minister of State will be joining us towards the end of this meeting, I do want to start by acknowledging her. So Honorable Claudette Irere, Minister of State in charge of ICT and TVET, Honorable Chantal Mbakeshimana, Member of Parliament and Chairperson of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians, Mrs. Cassiope Vienne, Deputy Head of Mission, French Embassy, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior government officials, representative of development partners, panelists and innovators, representatives of the media, of academic institutions, of youth groups and women's groups, colleagues from the One UN family and from the UN Women Eastern and Southern Africa region, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 5th UN Women Gender Cafe. This one happens to be virtual, as COVID-19 has forced us into this virtual world. But I just want to remind that the Gender Cafe is a space for dialogue and for an ongoing conversation on gender equality and women's empowerment. And it allows UN Women and its partners, whether from government, civil society organizations, the media, the academic institutions, to meet on a quarterly basis to reflect on a topic that is pertaining to gender equality, with a view to share information, learn from each other, and ultimately build or strengthen relationships, partnerships, and collaboration. We thought that as UN Women, it would be important to just have that dialogue ongoing and not just wait until there are some big events or some commemorative days to engage, but rather to provide this platform for a continuous engagement. Now, this particular edition of the Gender Cafe is being convened ahead of the Generation Equality Forum in Paris, which will be hosted by President Emmanuel Macron. And we are very delighted that the French embassy is joining us today as France is the host of the next and last Generation Equality Forum. This will happen at the end of June 30th to July 2nd. And several heads of state, institutions from the public and private sectors will be there and are expected to make some very high-level commitments in support of gender equality and women's empowerment. Now, Generation Equality, as many of you will know, was launched in 2019, and it is a multi-generational effort celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action, which is to this day considered as the most visionary agenda for the empowerment of women and girls everywhere. Now, through this forum, we are bringing together different generations of women's rights activists to help realize the unfinished business of the Beijing Platform for Action. In particular, we are engaging with young people, and I'm so glad that so many of them will be joining us today online, and some of them at the venue and in Kigali, not only at the Marriott Hotel, but at the Fawe Young Women Career Center, which UN Women has helped set up. So we are very, very delighted to have these young people on board because they will help us reimagine our economies, our societies, our political systems, leaving no one behind. We are also emphasizing the importance of engaging men and boys in shifting and transforming negative gender norms and power relations. Therefore, Generation Equality is a forum that mobilizes all stakeholders around a renewed commitment to gender equality, but most importantly, a call for swift, systemic change, political will, and bold, decisive action in support of women's voice, women's choice, and safety. So we are really looking at this as an effort to accelerate the achievement of gender equality, which you know is also one of the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 5 to be precise. Now, in November 2020, we had the honor to launch Generation Equality in Rwanda under the leadership of the Ministry of Gender, Honorable Janet Bayisenge, who couldn't join us today. And she launched Generation Equality and took the opportunity to also announce Rwanda's decision to co-lead one of the Generation Equality Action Coalition, namely the Coalition on Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality. This is the theme that we are debating today. That's what we are discussing. And we felt that this was so critical because the decision for Rwanda to co-lead this action coalition is very much in line with the country's commitment to gender equality on one hand, but also with Rwanda's vision to fundamentally transform its economy a knowledge-based economy with ICT and innovation as cornerstones of that, as backbone of that economy. In fact, Rwanda strives to bridge the digital gender divide and had made this a goal under the He for She campaign. So this is years ago. In 2014 already, Rwanda had set out to achieve, to close the digital gender divide by 2020. That did not happen, but a lot of progress has been made. And we really want to congratulate Rwanda in all these great achievements, all the steps that have been made way before COVID-19 forced us into this acceleration of effort to close the digital divide. Obviously, with such commitment, Rwanda, the private sector, the government of Rwanda and the private sector, but also all the partners have invested massively in building the right infrastructure, skills, and institutional frameworks to provide an environment that is conducive to meeting this target. And as I said, while we recognize the great achievements so far, not only in Rwanda, but also in Africa and across the world, we are also mindful of the many remaining challenges, many of which are linked to access, to affordability, to connectivity, and to the technical skills that are required to leverage the full potential of ICT and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, in an increasingly digitalized world, where COVID-19 has challenged our development model to its core, it has challenged our humanity. Greater efforts are more than ever needed to ensure that the digital gender divide is not further exacerbated, and that women and girls are not left further behind of this post-industrial revolution. The world cannot afford, and I'm sure you will agree with me in saying this. As President Kagame says it often, you cannot win any battle or any fight or any game with half of your team sitting on the bench. So we cannot afford to exacerbate or to deepen this digital gender divide. We need all hands on deck and we need everyone on board, men and women, boys and girls. And this is if we are to build back strong, inclusive, sustainable and equitable societies, and if we are to deliver on the premise of Beijing, of the SDGs, and of Africa Agenda 2063. So today, we shall be reflecting on women's full and effective participation in the ICT and STEM sector. We will be talking and engaging leaders in the ICT sector and the youth to discuss ways in which we can accelerate efforts to achieve gender equality in a digitalized world. We will be showcasing innovation and digital solutions that contribute to gender equality. And for that, we will be joined by a number of innovators towards the end of our event today, who will be pitching, and there will be awards to recognize their efforts and encourage them. So we have a full day ahead of us. I am very, very excited about the discussions ahead. We have broad participation from Rwanda and from the entire Eastern and Southern Africa region. I wish to thank the partners in Rwanda who have rallied around us to make this event possible, from the government of Rwanda to the French Embassy, Imbuto Foundation, FAWE, Gashora Girls, RISA, and of course, the One UN family and all the UN Women offices joining us today. I really appreciate your support. We are grateful to you. We are partners in doing goodness, and we are very, very excited about this event and the fact that you could come on board. I look forward to dynamic and inspiring conversation. I thank you so much for your attention. Murakoze Chane, merci beaucoup, et à tout à l'heure.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fatulo. Thank you so much for these inspiring words and a very call to action, I would say. You know, you've acknowledged that the need to celebrate the success and the progress that has been made, but also the pressure in a way to act now. So thank you for your I would like now to invite the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of France in Rwanda, Madame Kassiope-Yvienne, to also share some remarks with us. Good morning.
Thank you for the preliminary remarks. Thank you very much for having me here as well. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, UN representatives, distinguished guests, and the generation equality champion around the world. It is my pleasure here to be representing the Embassy of France. On behalf of the head of mission, Mr. Jeremy Blanc, who couldn't be here today, I would like to extend his appreciation for, to be part of this virtual gender cafe that will highlight the synergetic relationship between innovation and technology to advance gender equality. The fact that we're convening this event through virtual means in the midst of a global pandemic demonstrates that technology is integrated in our daily life and essential in our work. It can no longer be considered a luxury. It is more to be considered a basic need. We are currently in the midst of a challenging health crisis that has shown different socioeconomic disparities across all spheres of societies, leaving many economically, socially, and medically vulnerable. And unfortunately, we've seen that women and girls are the first ones to be impacted or to suffer negative consequences of this crisis. We must also recognize the achievements and efforts during this pandemic, technology and rapid innovation being at the heart of the global response. Digital technology has facilitated business continuity, access to education, response to gender-based violence, and awareness raising, support services, and overall COVID-19 prevention. However, access to technologies remains unequal around the globe, limiting access to information and opportunities, particularly for those living in vulnerable communities. Additionally, a significant gender gap in digital literacy and innovation persists as women and girls are often excluded from educational programs and platforms to innovate, as often a result of societal barriers. Just as a brief example, in 1995, 37% of computer scientists were women. Today, the number has gone down to 24% and will continue decreasing unless an action is taken globally. These challenges that we're facing today make global movements such as Generation Equality Forum all the more imperative. The French government is honored to be hosting the Generation Equality Forum in Paris between the 30th of June and the 2nd of July this year. We remain committed to work with international community, youth, civil society, private sector, and gender equality activists from all over the globe to make concrete and sustainable commitments toward achieving gender equality. France is also committed to promoting digital skills and access to technology for girls as a means for women empowerment in the business world, as well as to deconstructing sexist stereotypes barring women and girls from accessing technology, and to put an end to online gender-based violence. The 6 action coalitions, of which is the theme of today, is using technology and innovation for gender equality, will ensure that equality, inclusivity, and sustainability are at the heart of building back better from this pandemic. Recognize that in order for us to achieve the global goals set under Agenda 2030, women and men must be equally involved in driving towards development commitments in respect to fundamental rights set out at the CEDAW, as well as the Beijing Platform for Action. The event today creates a platform to drive and for the youth to showcase their expertise in leveraging digital technologies that bridge a gender digital divide and innovative technological solutions that contribute to make gender equality a lived reality. So as part of this, we are excited to be part of the Gender Equality Forum and will continue to stand with the youth to create the change that we're set out to see. So I wish you, thank you very much for having me here today again. And I wish you a very good day with very constructive and inspiring debates and discussions throughout the next sequences set out for today. Thank you very much again.
Government of France for the commitment through co-hosting the Gender Equality Forum coming up soon. I'd like to quickly say, I can see on my screen that the students and alumni of FAWE Rwanda are following us live on the screen. I wonder if they can see us and can say hi to us. Thank you for taking the time to join us physically, but COVID-19 safety measures do apply, so we're grateful for the ability to connect this way. I think it's time now to segue into our rights for an equal future using technology and innovation for gender equality. We've briefly talked about now, this increased digitalization of the world. It's been accelerated by COVID-19, the pandemic, but really an organization that supports startups. And while there, he set up the Kigali Entrepreneurship Program in partnership with Make It Africa, where he provided incubation support to close to 40 startups. Prior to that, he worked as the head of engineering at AC Group, a transport and mobility company that develops solutions on the African continent. He graduated from the University of Kaiserslautern, and I hope I didn't slaughter that, in software engineering. And Sangwa will also be my co-moderator as he will take the lead on part 2 of this event. So welcome, Sangwa. And to my immediate right, we have Puisa Charlotte. Charlotte is a software engineer and a global shaper. She's currently working at the Rwanda Social Security Board. She serves as a community lead for She Code Africa, a group with the aim to promote the pursuit of careers in technology for women. She has participated in and organized several events pertaining to empowering women and youth with technology skills with She Code Africa Kigali and organizations such as NASA Space Apps. Welcome, Charlotte. And last but certainly not least, we have Nshuti Lucy Mbabazi. Nshuti is a former president and member of the Girls in ICT Rwanda, excuse me. She currently serves as the head of Africa Advocacy and Partnerships for the UN-based Better Than Cash Alliance based in Kigali, Rwanda. Prior to joining the UN, she worked for the Rwanda Development Board, Visa, and most recently she led merchant payments business for Ecobank, transnational incorporated, covering 33 African markets, based in Lomé, Togo. Nshuti holds a Master of Science in Public Policy from Harvard Kennedy School of Government and a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology and Management from La Roche University. Welcome, Nshuti. It's such a pleasure having you all with me here. We'll get started. And my first question this morning is for Charlotte. Just thinking about you being a young woman, software engineer, you are now involved in several initiatives that promote the pursuit of technology for young women. How are all these efforts inspired by your own personal, have been informed by your personal journey?
Okay, thank you for this question. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so passionate about gender equality, especially in the space of information technology. My experience informed my journey to start a hub for She Code Africa because of my experiences in school and also in my internships. Usually I was the only girl in a room of 100 students, or even other classes, maybe one or two girls. So it's usually you find like girls are the minority. And then when I also started my internships, I was also the only black woman. So it's very hard to, even you're doing the work well, but to connect with other people is a bit harder for girls, especially young women. So I started She Code Africa Kigali. She Code Africa is the head is in Nigeria, but we have several hubs in school campuses and in cities all over Africa. And so what we do is create events and create programs that teach girls, especially girls and women, about different skills, different topics in information technology, such as design, such as back-end development, front-end development. So this is a way to bring women together and show them that they're not alone in this, that there are other women who are as passionate and who are as determined as them, and they can see themselves in each other, and in that way they get motivated. So I think that is what I didn't have in my school, and also as I did my internships. And so even though I was a very young woman, I started this last year, but it was my small way of contributing. I think our speaker said that we have to do it now. Even with the few resources we have to find a way to contribute to gender equality now. You know, the time is now. So yeah, when we have, we've had amazing speakers such as program managers in Microsoft who are black women, right? CEO of Virembo, people who work in UNICEF, showing girls that it is possible to dream big in technology, that it's not only for men only, and they too can achieve it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I mean, like I'm hearing, you know, the need for a community, for girls to see each other and see what success looks like. And seeing, you know, we always say presentation matters, right? So glad to hear that you were able to use to create a space for girls to see each other, see others who've what they hope to achieve, or sometimes don't even know they can achieve. I think it's a problem. Along that line, Shuti, I'm wondering, like, to what extent do you think gender biases and social cultural norms play a role in hindering women's and girls' interest or access to ICT? Looking back at your own journey as somebody who's, you know, climbed up the ladder, if I may call it that.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here. Thank you, UN Women, for inviting Girls in ICT to be here. I think for many of us, and we're influenced by what a culture and religious norms. I think culture and religion have been married together. And the general sense is that men are the heads of households, and you will see that in how decisions are made around money. I'll give an example. Last year, in one of the projects that when Women was funding on making masks, I was part of just watching what was happening with Gaia Links that was doing this work. And the women were required to have an account in their name to be paid their earnings from making the masks. But several of them, more than 100 in fact, had to call their husbands to get permission to have an account, a wallet in their name. This is not, I actually didn't think that this still happens, but I can understand why it would happen. And the joy on their faces when for the first time in their lives, even though they have been working, could have a phone number in their name and be able to receive money to their name was life-changing. And you know, obviously for those of us who are in urban cities or have been raised different, it's shocking. But this is how I believe many households are impacted by the cultural norms. And the beauty of technology is that it can allow these cultural norms to evolve in such a way that our men and boys can understand that a more equal household in terms of access to tools and services makes the home more successful, and therefore the family and the community and so on and so forth. So I think ICT is helping us to change, to improve how things are run in the home. And my hope is that fathers will see the importance of their daughters and their sons having equal access to tools that allow them to learn, that allow them to grow, that allow them to thrive. So I think in the coming, especially after COVID, where children had to go to school virtually, I think we'll see some of these things change. And as parents see their daughters and their sons thrive as a result of these tools, I think they'll, we'll begin to see a better change that can hopefully get us to where we want to be, and it's all thanks to the penetration of technology. And for Rwanda, seeing where we were 10 years ago and where we are today, if the pandemic had hit 10 years ago, I fear for what would have happened. Yeah. But thanks to the investments that have been made, the reach on technology in every single district, mobile penetration being at, I think it's just not in the lake, right? But even in the middle of Lake Kivu, you have connectivity to send WhatsApp. And that, I believe, made such a difference in driving communication and getting the message out, and what a marvel at what made for us. And I can't imagine that there's a home in Rwanda that was not, positively impacted by this, and also made and wants to have these tools in their home. Yeah. So I hope we will, as much as men will lead the home, we will all have equal access to tools to use to make the home as great as it can be. Thank you.
Absolutely. And what you're saying about really COVID, after COVID, yes, as comparing before and after COVID, the increase in access to ICT is 1 in 4 women accessed ICT. Conversation with Lucy, for instance, when she was like, let's go, let's do this. And so I think beyond the act of being mothers and having heart, women in Rwanda are definitely driven and pushing for the genders, and I think that's something that is amazing that we have here. Yes, absolutely. I was coming to you next. I'd love to hear your perspective. Is the mic on?
Thanks, Anga. So I wanted to add on maybe sharing an experience of an initiative we started at RISA. We started the Innovate for Women Challenge. We were thinking about the many challenges that Lucy alluded to, whereby technology is designed by male generally because they are the most, I'll say, dominant in the industry. And then some products are designed for women, but oftentimes you have solutions that are designed for women, but women were not consulted. At the end, we realized that without involving the women, some products end up not being really relevant. So during the competition, we encouraged women or girls to take part of the competition, and it was so amazing to see how a team of girls in college would really go on ground, try to define effectively the challenges, the mothers, the women in the businesses, or even, I think there's a group that even reached out to the women in refugee camps, trying to define the challenges they are facing, so to come up with a solution. So I think it's only going to be, perfect solutions when women are involved. And it's possible because we have young girls like Gwiza who are trying to do a really good job, but also all the efforts that are being done to encourage women to join technology, but also to master so they can create and, innovate technologies. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, I love this idea of an initiative. I think what it says is we have to be intentional about creating this change, right? So my question, actually, my follow-up question to you is, as we try to be deliberate in infusing gender components in new initiatives, in new ICT initiatives, to close the digital gender divide, we know that, as Madame Fatou mentioned, the government of Rwanda is co-leading the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality. Can you share more about the progress that's already been made in this aspect from a policy perspective? And what else do you think is still missing, or what else will it take for us to really get there?
Sure, thank you. And maybe to again start by thanking the UN Women, at least for this occasion also to share what Rwanda is doing in terms of generation equality initiative, and for this specific program, the Gender Cafe. It's a good platform. So I think it's really helping us in many ways, particularly Rwanda and the collaboration with the UN Women, whereby we are taking from the lessons from the He for She initiative that we've been implementing since 2015. And specifically, Rwanda has also joined the generation equality, focusing on bridging the gender digital divide and empowering women through technology and innovation. So, so far we've been trying to effectively define what are going to be the programs to be implemented at country level. And it's going to be implemented over 5 years, just like the He for She. So, so far we've been able to identify specific programs, and we've been trying to refine the commitments and engaging stakeholders to join Rwanda in the implementation of commitments that are going to also be published, and following the publication in the Paris summit, then we will, start the implementation. Though some of them are also building existing efforts. So particularly, we are still interested or committed to the gender digital divide in terms of access, skills, and usage. But we are also adding meaningful usage, because we've realized having access is something, getting the skills is another thing, but also getting to add value to individual daily activities, or even, being able to attain growth, adding value to the businesses, or generating revenues from the accesses. It's also something that is important to women. So, so far, beyond international cooperation or partnerships, we're also looking at establishing local platform, which is going to be like, say, a working group that brings all the government partners, be it private sector, civil society, academia, other various government institutions, to get involved in the implementation of the Rwanda commitments under the GE.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering, could you touch on, so these efforts have been in place for a while and you committed to them. Did the pandemic change anything, or did it accelerate any of the initiatives or work plans you had in place?
Well, maybe if I can start by generally talking about what has been done. I think almost 2 decades ago, when ICT was said to be like the key enabler for the fast-tracked development of our country, thanks to the visionary leadership. I can't agree more with what Lucy said. We were looking at how people had to stay home, rely on, virtual meetings or virtual way of doing things, quickly switch to trading online, paying cashless, things that really were there but not adopted as it should. And all of a sudden, people really had to switch. So without infrastructure availability across the country, this was not going to be possible. maybe we couldn't, get to switch everything and get life going 100%, but at least to the maximum, people were able to continue, working from home. Those school kids, most of them didn't have connectivity at home, but we were at least able to switch to programs that would be available on radio and TV. And for those who could have access to computers, could connect from their home and learn. And generally for businesses, some platforms are already, so people could buy or sell, but when you see the numbers in terms of, say, mobile money transactions, be it on MTN or Airtel, the numbers increased tremendously. So we could see all that happening thanks to the policies that were implemented to deploy the infrastructure across the country, thanks to the policies that enabled the development of e-services. I know you are aware of the Rainbow platform, but other services as well that can be accessed online. And then the specific Smart Rwanda Master Plan that encouraged most of the sectors to really take lead in driving the digital transformation in the very key, I would say, sectors of the economy, including education, health, agriculture, and so forth. And specifically, the Women Empowerment Through Technology that was worked on, trying to create awareness about the issues faced by women in technology, the aim to close on the gender digital divide, the call to stakeholders to be, I would say, intentional, and the infusion of gender balance as a principle in the initiatives that are undertaken. So, for instance, if I may use the example of the Rwanda Coding Academy, which is a school that was started to really help bridge the gaps in terms of advanced programming or software development skills in our market. By principle, gender, balance is set. So for each intake, it has to be 50-50, boys and girls. So that is one example of what could help. And as you had asked, through the COVID pandemic, the imbalance was really, I'll say, attenuated, because women traders, like the small traders, could not, immediately switch and get to continue their businesses. That is something we cannot ignore. And it's really set the alarm on what needs to be done and where efforts should be, added. So this is why, as part of the GE, we are now focusing even on inclusion of women in digital financial services as a specific target to really work on.
Thank you. I mean, you've touched on so many important things, and I think we'll have to come back to some of them for, but I'd like to highlight what you said about, it's taken 20 years. Like, infrastructures had to be put in place and efforts had to start a while ago for them to leverage. I think we have to acknowledge that, to me, that's a success of Rwanda, of the story of Rwanda, because, it wouldn't have happened overnight in terms of us being able to leverage technology and ICTs when a pandemic hit. I'd like to take this to Sangwa, thinking about the example Madame Josephine was giving us of when this digital gender divide where women aren't able to switch as quickly as the men, but at the same time they have more opportunities. With your work with startups and this, what have you seen? Like, what was the impact of the move online that you've observed? And how do we ensure that women are not left behind or they're participating fully?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here as a man, and I think we all need to be part of this journey. And I think we young women and recent think the crisis has definitely everyone, but on a different level. I think, as it was mentioned, tech-related businesses have seen their revenues grow, their market share grow, the volume of transactions grow, and some of them are led by women. We've seen that startups that we've been incubating have definitely seen a positive impact of the crisis to some level. I will just mention maybe startups like Olado, Murukari, Go Cook, just to mention a few. Boila story. But the story has not been the same for everybody. You're looking at entrepreneurs in tourism, in the hospitality industry, in fashion, etc. And last year, at the time I was leading an incubation program, and we've had to overnight literally switch some of the curriculum that we were providing and say, how can we have digital skills being included? How can we, not just technical skills, but how do you digitize your business in terms of the processes, in terms of how do you relate to customers, how do you manage your sales, how do you deal with your finances? So I think there's definitely need to be that switch, and I'd like to say that it's important to remember that this needs to happen not just in Kigali but all over the country. I've had a chance to to go to Huye on Monday we were opening a new hub over there, and there's so much talent that is out there. And we've seen women actually in a fab lab that was being opened, coming up with new products and new innovations. So I think there's a need to have this sort of countrywide approach to whatever we're doing. So definitely challenges, but also opportunities. And I think all the stakeholders need to have that in mind, that populations that have had historically less opportunities need to be considered and to be included in.
Thank you so much. Point around access for women. I mean, beyond the digital skills that may need to be built, but also them being able to access technology, especially for entrepreneurs. I wonder if, I'd like to take this back.
System is largely cash. And I think about if we digitize the wages of those who are working on the farms, who are over, I think well over 80% of our population, right? And many of them, at least more than half, are home, and we no longer need to go to the market. The lady at the market is proactive partnership with a motorcycle or a bicycle that will deliver. This is a ripple effect of digitization. So our economies depend on us digitizing the world. Naturally, because everybody's looking inward, given the impact of COVID, can help us mobilize more resources, can help us grow the tax base that can then fuel development funding that we need locally, and hopefully get us to a place where we can fund our development. I really believe that when we digitize wages, whether I am selling samosas on the road, walking them around digitally, or I'm working at home, or I'm washing the car, we need to grow the base of those that are paid digitally and therefore have accounts. We need to grow our pockets as a country, as a continent, and really that can only happen when we digitize this cash in circulation that we have. Africa's GDP, I think, is close to 3 trillion.
In the region. I would say, depending on the maturity stage of the startups, when you're at a very early stage, there are platforms, crowdfunding platforms, there are different microloans mechanisms that have been set up. by?
Fields that they're still needed for the fourth industrial revolution. So it's important that we show women, and we make sure we show people who have reached there, and we make them accessible to talk to women, and make them feel like they too can also enter this field. So we need to show them this field is a field of high compensation, field where there's a lot of high fulfillment, because you are solving problems that affect so many people. Yeah, that's how I think we can show them.
So communicating all the benefits that they would get from participating fully, if they're able to. Thank you so much. My last question will go to Madame Josephine again. And for me, I think, we talk a lot about, we've talked about the challenges that women do face in terms of, whether it's skills or access to devices or services. And with the COVID pandemic accelerating digitization and other even efforts that we've built upon from before, we know there's opportunities. But I think that one of the challenges that we haven't talked about yet is women fearing entering male-dominated workspaces, male-dominated industries, and ICT and STEM being some of those spaces. They come to fear issues around sexual harassment in the workforce, or working long hours when, they have to balancing the work and home life, considering that women are still the primary home caregivers. And then too often it is women as individuals who are asked to try to solve these issues when they're systemic and they have little control over them as individuals. So we're just wondering, from a policy perspective, how can the ICT sector be more conducive for women to not just thrive in an ICT space, but also feel safe in an environment like that?
Thanks for that important question. I'd say it all starts at the school level. Let me say it that way, because beyond the social, cultural norms, that can only be removed starting from, the very early age as possible. And I can see it starting at the very first day of school, when school kids are made aware of the opportunities, are made aware of, identify their talents and develop them. When they are prepared ahead, they are ready to either jump or, I want to avoid the thinking of trying to solve things at the end of the, the journey, whereby we have huge opportunities to fix them prior. Maybe even to make things much complex. There's even an issue of keeping the female in the tech industry. You'll find most women do computer science, but will work in other domains. Mm-hmm. They're no longer interested in, fighting or going to compete for jobs in the tech industry. And why is that? So many challenges maybe.
At least in the case of Rwanda, government has been absolutely deliberate around driving access, around ensuring equality. And there's a lot of focus on asking policymakers. But the private sector has such a big role to play. And I think the same lens that we hold, the same standard we hold government to, we need to hold.
Are fairly represented through the establishment of legal and policy.
We are coming to the end of part one of the Gender Cafe, which is the panel discussion. I would like to sincerely thank our panelists for your wonderful comments and contributions. I would like to thank the and the partners for all the work that's happening from the government of Rwanda, RISA. We have Imbuto Foundation has been a partner in initiatives, Gashora Girls Academy, FAWE, and thank you for the FAWE joining us virtually for this event. I would also like to thank our guest speakers, starting with Honorable Minister Claudette Tirere and her wonderful closing statements, but also the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of France, Madame Cassiopée-Vienne, who delivered welcome remarks this morning. Thank you to Cleo Ingabire, the future, the woman who's unstoppable, and to Aristide Mugabe, the captain of the Patriots Basketball Club, for joining us and sharing some wisdom. At a young age, they're already trying to spread their own message of their own learnings, a message of optimism to other youth. I would also like to thank the guests we had in the virtual room, including the representative of UNFPA, Mr. Mark Schreiner, and the representative of FAO, Gilbert Benohu, and I sincerely apologize if...
7 million more women being pushed into extremity because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
who deserve 50% of the power.
This year, leaders and changemakers will meet at the Generation Equality Forum.
A forum to build up and strengthen women's rights for generations to come.
Let's show that we're standing up
so equality can step forward.
And in a year where it's virtually impossible to meet, we'll meet virtually.
Don't wait. It's time to act for equal. Waited. A woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
While we waited, a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
women's rights were reversed, undoing years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn again,
we must begin to act.
For the 1 in 3 women who have experienced violence in their lifetime.
For the 47 million more women being pushed into extreme poverty because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
The I-Accelerator was developed in partnership between Imbuto Foundation, UNFPA and UK Aid.
This challenge through long-term resolutions such as the Innovation Accelerator Program, a mentorship-driven acceleration program supporting young entrepreneurs with seed funding, training and skills development to generate innovative and sustainable solutions.
We targeted the youth because, first of all, they make the largest demographic population in Rwanda. And we also believe that the challenges that we are seeing nowadays in Rwanda affect them disproportionately. It is for that reason that we wanted to go to the young people and bring them closer to the table where decisions are being made. We wanted them to be able to express their voices, but also express the challenges that they have around them. And ultimately have them also not only share with us the challenges that they see around them, but also have them understand that the answers to these challenges come from them.
The I-Accelerator Phase 1 focused on having increased access to adolescent sexual and reproductive health services and information.
So that Phase 1 was really to go into the community and look for innovative solutions driven by young people to respond to challenges that impacted them the most.
The I-Accelerator wasn't conceived as a one-term initiative. The second phase of the project was launched as an effective and efficient way to scale up the project. On 20th September, the I-Accelerator Phase 2 kicked off with a focus on tackling the issue of teenage pregnancy as a way to encourage young people to think critically and creatively on how to address this issue.
The figures show us that about 7% of Rwandan girls before the age of 19 actually become pregnant. And we believe that because these young girls are basically put in a situation they're not ready to handle yet. And we also see the weight of becoming mother at a young age can cause not only on the new mother, her new child, but also the family and the community at large. We believe that it will also us to throw out another challenge in the community and have these young people now tell us directly what they're witnessing around them and tell us how they think actually provide an answer to this challenge of fighting teenage pregnancies.
Youth realizing their right, informed choices about their bodies, their own lives, and their world that they live in is a matter of justice for us at UNFPA.
We are also pleased to support iAccelerator program to help Rwanda youth to maintain their health and contribute to the development of Rwanda.
In a period of over 750 hours submitted, with the hope of bringing innovative solution to this year's theme. From 40 projects, 10 innovative projects secured tickets to the final stage of the iAccelerator Phase 2. These innovators went bootcamp training by Rwanda, which helped them materialize their ideas and projects into real enterprises.
Igisubizo cyanjye ni application yitwa Sobanukirwa ifasha urubyiruko kubona amakuru y'ubuzima bw'imyororokere binyuze mu mashusho n'uko bakirinda inda ziterwa abangavu.
Igisubizo dufite ku nda ziterwa abangavu ni umukino uri mu buryo bw'amakarita utanga amakuru yizewe ku buzima bw'imyororokere.
Umushinga wacu ni podcast The Open Impamba y'ubuzima, ni ikiganiro gica kuri radio mu buryo bw'uruhererekane. Dutumira umwana w'umwangavu waratewe inda, hanyuma akaduha ubuhamya, tugatumira impuguke ikatubwira nimba ubuzima yabayemo hari isano bwagirana no kuba yaterwa inda. Twese hamwe tugakuramo amakuru yizewe ajyanye n'ubuzima bw'imyororokere n'uko twarwanya inda ziterwa abangavu.
Muri uyu mwiherero tumazemo iminsi twigiyemo uburyo umushinga wacu ushobora kubyarira inyungu.
Twifurije amahirwe urubyiruko ruri hano ndetse n'abandi bari ahandi hatandukanye, ariko tunahamagarira buri wese gukomeza gutekereza icyakorwa kugira ngo urubyiruko rwacu, abakobwa n'abahungu bacu bagire ubuzima bwiza mu Rwanda rwiza. Murakoze.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. My name is Sangwargo, and I'll be your moderator for this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. This morning was about engagements, interactions. Now is the time to give the floor to innovators to see what they've been working on, innovations that you can touch and feel and smell. I'm really excited to be here. Whether it is in gaming, in education, in disaster management, you get to see what our young women and men have been working on. What you might probably know is that young women have been at the foundation for the past years. This morning, if you've been able to make more transactions or
if you've accessed some government e-service, there's probably a woman that is behind. Also, if you've been flashed by a radar, by the way. So innovations are everywhere, and we get to extend every day. So before we start, I'll just give you a view of how this is going to work. We'll have 8 innovators that will be given 3-minute pitch, their solutions. Then our panel of judges will be asking a few questions. And then this will be followed by some deliberation. The 2 best solutions will be awarded, and we'll close this afternoon with some closing remarks. So with that said, I would like to remind you to keep your phones on silent mode. Make sure you give a maximum attention to the innovators. They've worked really hard on these solutions, and I think they deserve our attention. With that said, we will start with the first innovator. He's in gaming. If you don't know how to keep yourself busy at night, she has a solution for this. Her name is Abigail Gisubizo, and she's from Dope Apps, and she came up with a Keza game. Abigail, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Did you know that 1 out of 5 girls intend before the age of 19? Or that also that 9 of the first-time teen mothers gets pregnant again due to the lack of the right information on sexual and reproductive health and services. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gael Gisubizo Abi, and I'm the CEO at Dope Apps. At Dope Apps, we are bringing you a solution which is called Keza 3D Game. Keza 3D Game, it's a gamification platform that provides the right information on SRH in a youth-friendly way. We have 4 features. Please play the video. Okay. So we have 4 features in the app. We started with a survey with the teen mothers where we found a lot of solution to that. And our first solution in the app, which is one of the features, is the chatbot. So the AI chatbot contains all the information on SRH. This is a safe space for the young people to learn more on SRH. The questions you can't ask your parents, the questions you cannot ask your teachers, it's a safe space to learn the right information, where you can ask different taboo-related questions. So the second one is Keza Quiz. So Keza Quiz, you need to answer different questions that are asked and gain more points where you can use them to play the game. So Keza Quiz is a must to play. And with Keza Quiz, we'll be using this in schools. There'll be different SRH competitions in schools where the first one will be awarded, the one with the high score. And the third one is the gameplay, which is Keza running different streets of Kigali, meeting different obstacles that girls normally meet, like sugar daddies, money, drugs, but it's the choice of a player to determine if she's going to be a better version of herself or if she's going to face the consequences. You can fall in the game, there are accidents. If you fall in the game, you can go back to the quiz and answer those questions, learn something, and gain the point, come back and play the game. And with that, we have been preventing, but also we didn't forget the people who got pregnant. So this is an e-shop where we will be selling different products for the teen mothers, and we'll be selling different products made by women living with disabilities and women living with AIDS. You can ask yourself how to make money out of this. So in the game, we'll be having a B2B business. We'll be having different partnership with different schools because we want to play. We want to go in schools, and this game has to be played in schools where young people during the ICT hour, they have once a week, they have to play the game instead of playing other games. They have to play an educative game. And with that, we'll be making money out of the advertisement. You have seen the trucks that are branded in the game. You have seen cars, clothes, anything we can brand. So advertisement and different partnership. There will be also a premium version where there will be no ad and there will be more features in the game. And basically, this will be the first 3D video game in Africa addressing on SRH, and it will be the first 3D video game in Rwanda. And we hope at Keza, we believe that if a woman is educated, she is empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abigail. A round of virtual applause for you. We'll take one question from the judges. Fabrice, do you have a question? Elizabeth, sorry.
Thank you. Can I ask two? They are quick to answer. I guess she should not take long. The first one is at which stage is this gaming solution? Is it already deployed to be accessible, or it's still under development? The second one is for the chatbot. Do you have a way to put content in categories so that you have content per age of participant? Thanks.
Yes. The first question, we are trying the testing within the company, but we are launching the first testing publicly in July, and will be launched officially. The game will be online in August. It will be across platform, and with the second one, as you have seen in the quiz or in the chatbot, before you enter, they ask your age. There will be levels of questions. There will be levels of your information. So before you enter, they ask your age to know the right content.
All right. Thank you so much for this. And we'll just move on with the next speaker.
Thank you so much.
All right. Gaming, while you can shop and experience and learn new things. I don't know about you, but I find that really exciting. Our next innovator is from Humidity Zen. The name alone should spark some curiosity. So Orlise Ineza is the next innovator to pitch today. Is Orlise in the room? Orlise has brought a prototype to show to us. This is going to be exciting. I'm curious to see how this works. Orlise, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm Ineza Orlise from Gashua Girls Academy, presenting to you Humidity Zen. So by the name, you can already tell what it's related to. So I wanted to first start by telling you about some interesting facts. Did you know that according to UN Environment Programme, inefficient processing, poor storage and insufficient infrastructure in sub-Saharan Africa has led to post-harvest food losses estimated to be worth $4 billion US. And did you also know that 8% of the world's population are women in agriculture? And more locally, did you know that 67.6% of the Rwandan population was engaged in agriculture in 2013, and 79.1% of those were women? So that could tell you a lot, because considering the losses that were estimated by the UN, Rwandan women are facing a serious issue of food loss when it's due to poor storage. So that's where Humility Zen comes in. Humility Zen is going to take advantage of a value that many of us haven't considered prior to this. It is very rare to hear someone ask you, what is the humidity in this room? Or like, what is the absolute humidity? But it is compared to how people could ask, what's the temperature? What is the predicted rainfall today? So humidity is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. The dangers of high humidity, if they could project the presentation. High humidity as well as low humidity brings with itself very many dangers. The safe humidity for humans is between 60% and 80% absolute humidity. And for plants and so if the humidity increases based on the air blown in, the window should automatically open. A few seconds.
Hey, Ollie, is it working?
I
think we get an idea of how it works. This is fantastic. Well, we can have another demo later.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ollies. This is the ultimate way to be zen at home and not worry about whether the humidity is too high and whether your children are not, if you do have children, are suffering from that. So I really find that quite interesting. Do we have questions from the judges?
Thank you for your nice presentation. I have three small questions. The first one will be, could you please summarize technically how does the device work? And again, the second question will be, how many devices, how can it take you to design or to produce one device? And again, you said you're from Gashora? Yep, okay.
Yes.
How many are in your team? And are you getting time to work on the device? Are you working on the device during your free time, or just explain your availability on working on the device? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll start with the team. I'm a member of a team of 5 other girls from Gashora, and yes, we do work on our project, but we started with a prototype because we wanted to get enough funds to build the actual thing and use actual windows. So to explain how it works, the window, my sample window, is connected to a motor here, and the motor based on the cause, when this sensor reads high absolute humidity and the windows are closed, obviously there's too much water vapor in the atmosphere. So this window will automatically open, reducing the absolute humidity and making it safer for either the food, the people, or the plants in there. So then after, I also have a screen that should display what humidity the room has, and as well as an alarm system with LED lights and a buzzer. So in the long run, HumidityZen is going to create an app where the owner of the house can see that there is this amount of humidity in my room and my windows have opened, my crops are safe or anything. And maybe if they want to change the storage room because it keeps having dangerous humidity, they can see it on the app. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Olis, for this. So without any, so we'll just move on to the next innovator. Just in case you don't know this, we have also innovators from the region. Our next guest is from Tanzania, Edward Rwidiko, and his product is Project Inspire. Is Edward available? So we could. All right, Edward, the floor is yours.
Hello.
While Edward is logging in.
I'm online. Can you hear me? Hello? Hear me?
Put on a few marks. So,
Can you
all
hear
right.
me?
So Edward is now online. So Edward, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Hello? Okay.
Yes.
Great. So I just wanted to make sure that it's true. So yes, I come from Project Inspire, and I'm going to project my screen, and the other participants sharing, I think, should stop sharing the screen so that I can project mine. I can't share my screen. Interesting that you're facing technical difficulties as we're trying to solve to use technology to combine this. Great. So, yeah. So based on as our name suggests, Project Inspire, we aim to inspire young people to enter and stay in STEM careers, because there's a disconnect between the current education system and the future employability of these young people. We do this through doing boot camps that will help young people and girls specifically to develop soft skills in terms of critical thinking, collaboration, teamwork, creativity, and innovation. We are not in ourselves a digital solution. However, we use our innovation is using project-based integrated learning to improve the way young people experience science, technology, engineering, and mathematics generally. And we do this through the boot camps that we provide mentorship for these young innovators, especially girls, with special emphasis on inclusivity and providing role models to young innovators towards developing some solutions that are going to save solve problems on a day-to-day basis. So the next slide will be a video that shows an example of a boot camp that started doing since 2014. And this time around Tanzania, but this is going to be the develop the innovations around STEM. So if you would play the video, please. Can you click the video? Anyway, so as it is coming up, one of the things that I can't hear anything coming from your end. I can't hear anything.
Can you hear us?
Now I can hear you. Okay, so there's a...
Okay, I think the video is still loading, so just...
Yeah. So just to wind it up, what we usually do in these boot camps, we provide challenges to these young people to solve, to use STEM to solve problems. So this was a boot camp where we had a cholera outbreak in Tanzania. And we invited secondary school age children to girls and boys in STEM to solve, to see how they can use that to solve the problems. You can please play. And we usually use also role models, female role models, like to come in and speak to these young people.
Secondary school students. In a nutshell, you are looking for gaining more knowledge and transferring both knowledge and skills to others, either your colleagues, the way it is, or by doing something which will affect the whole society.
Tumefanikiwa kuitengeneza hii pampu yetu ya maji ya sola, na wanakijiji wamekuja wameshaanza kuitumia. Nawashukuru sana ambao tumeshirikiana nao katika kutengeneza, na ni teknolojia halali kabisa tumetengeneza hapa Tanzania. Tungependa kuwa inspire vijana wote na watu wanaoanza waweze kutengeneza. Ni kitu very simple, inahitaji tu kufikiria na kuweza kutumia nguvu kujua tunaweza kutatua matatizo ambayo Watanzania wanayapata.
Iwape support kubwa ili iweze kufanisi zaidi kugundua vitu kama hivi vingine ambavyo tutaweza pia hasa watu wa hali ya chini sana kama sisi.
Project Inspire to inspire.
Thank you so much, Edward. Our brothers and sisters from Tanzania are showing us how it's done. I think we may have one question from the judges. Is Agnes online right now?
Thank you, Edward. Just one question from my end. Just wanted to check with you in terms of the boot camps that you host and focusing on STEM. What are your projections in terms of reaching more young women to join the boot camps? Is it just in Tanzania, or are you looking across the region?
So for the first for the first 3 years that we've been working with these boot camps, we've been having a great balance between girls and boys participating in this, and it has been almost 60% girls, 40% boys. However, now we're thinking of expanding these boot camps. After finishing our science center in Tanga, we want to be more inclusive to allow more participants from the region to bring in their innovations and ideas to come up and do the presentation. So we're looking at having a very competitive, so usually get 100 girls and boys only to participate. So we try to see how we can expand this and we'll be more inclusive across. We'll be more than happy to work with you and women to see how we could accept more people, girls from the region.
And one other question, just a follow-up question. Is this annual boot camps or by 2 years? How do your boot camps?
So these are usually annual boot camps, and as a build-up towards the annual boot camps, we usually have regional boot camps. For example, this month, every student, when they go back to their schools, they start to prepare for the annual boot camp. So they have mini boot camps on their regions, and this one national culminates once a year.
Thank you. Thank you, Edward.
Okay, thank you, Edward. Thank you, Agnes. This reminds me that I need to learn some Swahili to be able to understand part of the video. So we are coming to our next innovator. His name is Jacques Muchuranyana. He's been working with children and in different districts around the country, and he has something that is quite innovative to share with us. Jacques, you're next.
Thank you. My name is Jacques. I'm coming from Hope and Homes for Children. I'm going to present SMS technology as one of the solutions for persons with disabilities. SMS technology is an SMS-based reporting system that helps to connect people with disabilities with the local government structures from grassroots level up to national level, including NCPD structures, National Council for Persons with Disabilities. Our solution is going to address the problem, that persons with disabilities face different issues at grassroots level. They are neglected, discriminated, they don't have access to health care, they don't have access to education, and they may be abused or violated. And when it comes to issues of persons with disabilities, women are mostly affected because they are the ones who take care of children with disabilities and people with disabilities. And also, there are also women who have disabilities. Imagine a woman with disabilities taking also care of other people. It is a the problem are not known by local government. So our solution is coming to respond, to connect quickly the people with disabilities to person with disabilities. So how it works. A person with disability may use any phone, any kind, whether it's a smartphone or just a simple phone like that, send a message raising the issue using the phone, send the message to 2015, and the message will give a copy to these all structures. And they also respond to the issue. And the message is saved in the web because this is a web-based system. And when this level, end of this level, the issue is beyond their capacity, it may refer to other stakeholders, other partners like NGOs, police, RIB, one-stop center health care services, or the district, depending on the case raised. So that's how our system works. Maybe you can go on the other slide. And before we go on the other slide, we have also used this system to raise awareness on COVID prevention measures. Actually, when you the COVID started, the prevention measures were not including persons with disabilities. They were just bringing the hand washing that are not accessible to people with disabilities. So we raised the message to local authorities to make this inclusive to persons with disabilities, focusing also to women. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jacques. I believe we also have a question from one of the judges, Elizabeth.
Yes, I do have a question. Given that people with disability, as you mentioned yourself, are most of the time discriminated, even hidden, mistreated, how is this solution feasible? How are you assured that these people will have access to cell phones? Because since they are discriminated, denied access to the basics needs of their normal life, how would they have access to mobile phones?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have what we call, and we have already tested this, and it is something that is working so far. We are working in 3 districts. How it works, when there is a person with disability who doesn't have a phone, we have friends or family at the grassroots level, at the village level. He has the responsibility to visit every single family and see the problem in that family. The friends or family may also raise the issue on behalf of that person who has not a phone, and the issue may be known and the intervention may come.
Another one, follow up to that one. Why do we need another channel if the friends of family and the other local administration already have channels of reporting these issues? Because I know, for example, in Shutizu Muryango, they have their own USSD channel to report on issues that they witness in families. Then that would be having to report in several channels. Is this efficient in your view?
Yeah, actually, the SMS technology concern people with disabilities only. For the USSD used by friends or family, it's just for children. I know that USSD was brought by NCC, currently NCDA, but it was not specifically for persons with disabilities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack. This is inspiring to see you touch on such an important topic and working actually with people all over the country to solve that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So our next innovator has come up with something that may save your evenings. If you're coming out of work and you've had a long day and yet your day is not over. So I think you will understand what I mean once she comes on stage. Yvonne from GoCook.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I introduce myself, I would like to know how many people we have in the room that love food. Grazie. My name is Yvonne. I'm the managing director of a company called Moira Limited. And we have an amazing platform for you, a platform that will help you to get someone to cook for you anytime. So you can just imagine, not being able to have the cooking time, but eating the food that you want because you have someone who is going to do that for you. It's really amazing. So, presentation. So yeah, food is essential, right? And we all need it. But do you know the challenges that we meet when we want to eat healthy homemade food? Next. We either do not have cooking time, cooking skills, or trust issues when it comes to our dietary needs and allergies. And this mainly, next, affects women because in some cultures, people believe that women should do all the cooking. You know, we should carry the burden always of cooking. And that's not right because some of us are ministers, CEOs, and we do not have much time to spend cooking because we have other demanding responsibilities. And that is why we brought in a very good solution to all of us who need food but don't have much time to cook, which is a platform called GoCook.rw that connects people to chefs who can cook for them anytime. So basically, the person comes for you and he comes at your place. He cooks from your place. You don't have to move from one place to another. You just request the person to come and cook for you at your place. It's really simple and it's amazing. So the platform is called GoCook.rw. Next. So this solution is very beneficial to all of us because we get to access healthy homemade food anytime. We also, as a company, we hire people and we try to make sure that they get EcoPay next. You get to also earn more as a chef. So we're not alone in this industry, but we are the pioneers. We are the only ones on the Rwandan market that are providing on-demand chefs next. So our business model is very simple. We charge 30% commission on each transaction that happens on our platform. And we also charge delivery fees for people who want ready meals. We can cook and deliver it to your place. So you have to pay a delivery fee next. So we already have chefs, 11 chefs who registered, and 45% of these chefs are women. Next. So we are looking for this much money for us to buy some kitchen equipment because this has been a challenge. You know, we go to people's homes and we find that they have no basic equipment. So if we can invest in that, it can be really great. Next. Every great product has a great team. Of course, this is my team. I'm the managing director of the company. Next. And you can follow us or reach out to us on our social medias. It's GoCook_RW. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. This is the kind of energy that we need when we're creating new innovations. I believe there's also a question from one of the judges, Shadrach.
Thank you, Sangwa, and thank you, the presenter, GoCook. We are actually very lucky to have this presentation right after lunch. Otherwise, we would struggle.
Thank you.
So I have one question. As we said, you know, we are talking about essential item, food. And food catering is one of the hotspot occupations, exacerbating women's unpaid care work. So now my question, I know you briefly alluded to that, with just key facts, because your product is already working, is already rolled out. So with the clear facts, how would your solution, product solution, contribute to reducing and redistributing unpaid care work that is affecting women, particularly when it comes to that hotspot occupation, which is cooking? And second, how would your solution also contribute to mitigating the severe issue of children malnutrition? We are talking about food. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the questions. I'll start with the first question. According to Salary Explorer, I read that women are paid 20% less in hospitality industry. So when we first introduced this, we wanted to tackle on that. We wanted to make sure that women and men have equal pay, which I also said in the benefits. So when we're paying them, we don't just discriminate them based on anything. We just pay them equal because they work equally. So we pay them the same amount of money. And then on the problem of malnutrition, I didn't get enough time to tackle on that, but we work with some nutrition consultants. But these people are very expensive. So with that money that we're looking for, we want to hire more nutrition consultants to work with so that we can be able to, also focus on this thing of malnutrition that is happening, especially in Rwanda and some provinces. We have children that are really suffering from malnutrition. So if we can get people who can believe in us and help us to strengthen this business, we can really work on that as well as we're working on other issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yvonne. This is amazing. You just saved the night of so many people and weekends as well. All right. So we are moving now to our next innovator. Pascaline has been dealing with an issue, a challenge that we've been facing all over the country around flooding and disaster management. So she has a solution that might inspire all of the government and private sector actors in the room or online. So Pascaline, we can't wait to see what you have for us. So Pascaline will have a video first, right?
Yes.
And then you will speak right after, okay? You can be here on stage already.
It's okay.
Hello, my name is Neta Pascaline. I am a FAI Rwanda scholar at the University of Uganda and a final year student doing bachelor degree in mathematics and statistics. FloodWiz is a technology-based project. Rwanda has been undergoing severe flooding, especially since 2017. For example, in 2018, 200 people were killed by floods and 50,000 were displaced, while property in billions was lost. To intervene in this area, appropriate historical statistics were required. And all that was available was just a PDF document that contained a lot of data on causes and effects of floods. And even this data was not properly arranged. To solve this problem, we created a data visualization map that shows historical statistical data on effect of flooding in all districts of Rwanda using a strong programming language called JavaScript. This information will help ease access and quick data analysis. Compared to the PDF documents and historical books, it will also help government and development partners in decision making for prevention, effect mitigation, and quick intervention in case of emergency. SAS data is the only one of its kind in the country and has been recognized as one of Rwandan best projects in hackathon competition called NASA Space Challenge, organized by America's National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Since flooding affects mainly crop production, and given that women constitute the larger percentage of subsistence farmers, the intervention of government and development partners in this area will benefit women in the first place in the agriculture sector. We are still in the prototype stage.
All right, so this was an amazing video. Floods have been such a challenge to our government leaders all over the country. And so this is one of the ways that we could tackle this challenge, being informed on time, making sure that you have the right data about what's going on all over the country. So we're waiting for Pascaline to come. Okay, no problem, no worries. Pascaline would like to say something on top of what we've just saw.
Yeah, I sent the video, then they're going to play the map. So we created the map by using JavaScript. So that map shows historical statistical data on damages caused by floods in Rwanda. For example, if you click on somewhere, it is the historical data on all the district of Rwanda. For example, if you click it on, like here, so you see, this is the historical data on damages caused by floods in Rwanda from 2016 up to 2018. So we did this map. It was just a prototype. We are in prototype stage. So our future plan is to create what we call wireless emergency alert. So how it works, especially it works in the developed country like Canada, US. So how it works, we are planned for us to work with the networking agencies like MTN, Airtel, so that they may send alert before like they were going to send the alert or messages that one to the people who are in the place that where the floods are going to happen. Thank you.
This is amazing. It's interactive. You can see it, you can touch it, and you get like real-time data. So thank you so much, Pascaline. I believe there is also another question from a judge, that is Agnes, who is right now online. Agnes, are you? As we're waiting for Agnes. Or maybe there's another question from Fabrice.
I wanted to know how are you getting data to be uploaded in your system, and I wanted to know if your system is linked with some other systems which also are used locally to get some statistics. And the last one, which is also very small, how are you planning to archive the data collected using your system? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For us, what we did, we use free data from the Minema platform. So right now, the data we have, it is a free data from Minema. But of course, as I said, it is the prototype stage. So it means that we will need assistance from the Minema. So we will need the permission from the Minema. So for us, we are planning to go and talk to the Minema. So that's it.
Okay. Technically, how are you planning to archive all data in your system?
For us, we are planning to talk to the Minema so that they give us the access to data, and we are going to update it by using the programming. Okay, thank you.
Okay, because we're running out of time, we'll just wrap up here and then go to the next speaker. Thank you so much, Pascaline.
Thank you.
All right, so we have two speakers, two innovators coming up. The next one is Eric Niyongira. Niyongira has came up with a solution around sexual reproductive health, and will tell us more about it. Eric?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay. As they said, my name is Eric Nyangira. I'm a medical student, but I also represent a group of 3 medical students from the University of Rwanda. We are 3 Confiance, me, Eric, and Nadine. Our solution comes on tackling sexual and reproductive health of adolescent girls and young women. Next slide. The problem we are trying to solve is teenage pregnancy in Rwanda. As you know, we always hear in the news the rising threat of teenage pregnancy, and we all know the effects and consequences related to the teenage pregnancy, including maternal mortality, school dropouts, and other effects related to the teenage pregnancy. So our solution comes on availing informative friendly sexual and reproductive health information to the adolescent girls and young women. Because as it has been shown, one of the top barriers around sexual and reproductive health services is the lack of knowledge. So we are coming to bridge that gap of lack of knowledge to provide information around sexual and reproductive health of adolescent girls and young women. The next slide. Our solution is Kungwa typing application and the booklet. This typing application comes on availing sexual and reproductive health reasons and text, as well as games, to make sure that the solution is friendly and easy to use. But we also have for the booklet. The reason for the typing application and the booklet is to make it disability friendly, to include people with disabilities. Because this typing application, we also have the sound mode to help people with visual disabilities, as well as the people with hearing disabilities can be able to use the typing application, as we also give the information to them. And as I said, to include the games to make it friendly to the adolescent girls and young women, but there is also the booklet. The booklet works more on giving the information in the Braille format. The Braille format to help people with visual disabilities to read the information will be giving, but also the sign language puzzle. The sign language puzzle will work more to make it friendly, as the application has the games. So the sign language puzzle will also work to make it friendly to people with visual disabilities. The next slide. Next one, of course. So the typing application, we also have the SRH services orientation, as we're giving the information, but there will be also the part which gives the orientation to the SRH services, as people might need them apart from the information we'll be giving. Can you play this video a bit to show how our solution will be looking like?
Welcome to Kungwa typing application, the touch typing coach. Please create an account. Type in your names.
But it's not showing well.
Your email address, the phone number, and your country. Test. Tests are arranged in chapters. Lectures, menstrual health. Start test.
Yes, we can.
I can play it at the end.
We will play it later. Okay. We can just move on.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go to the next slide? So the video will be played when I'm done. You can go to the next slide. Okay. So continuing, as the video will be shown, we are into finalizing and making our application ready. That's what we are working on now, but also working as well as packaging the information that we put in the booklet. So to make sure that the solution is available for use. Next slide. Our partners include the Gami Express. They are software developers who are helping us work more on the solution and the application. But we are also partnering with the Medical Student Association of Rwanda, especially the people who are working on the sexual and reproductive health, to make sure that we get the right content and the information which will be put into the application, as well as the booklet. We are a group of medical students who are passionate on gender equality. As we know, the differences into the information people are receiving, especially about their sexuality, affects them more. So we are passionate more on bridging those gaps which affect women and make them disadvantaged on different domains, as they are not having proper information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Young medical doctors in Rwanda are not just working from hospital and clinics, but they're also innovating. They're coming up with new solutions that are easy to use. They can speak to everybody. So congratulations on that. We'll have, before we move on, one question, I believe, from Shadrach has a question for our innovator here.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Eric and your team, the medical students.
Yes.
It's exciting to hear from you. I have one question.
Yes, please.
You know, your solution being online based, and we all know that with the increase of online platforms, there is also a surge or an increase in cyber crimes, including potentially for a topic like sexual and reproductive health, comprehensive sexual education, as you put it. There is such risk of online sexual harassment, bullying. To that regard, just building upon from the biases and misrepresentation that is surrounding SRH. So now the question is, what strategies, be it your interface-based part, what strategies that are in place that would help you ensure that your solution, your online platform is safe and free from any violence, including particularly cybersexual harassment?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your good question. I would say that apart from those challenges related to the application being online, but there is also the problem of affordability being always online. So, solution, we are working to make it available offline, where people can download the application once and use it offline to first make it affordable. They will just need to be connected to the internet for updating, because we constantly update the information we'll be giving. So they will only need the internet to be online once they are updating it. But also talking to the issues you raised, we are constantly working with different partners to make sure that our solution will be protected in the maximum possible means, either working with the different government institutions protecting such innovations to make sure that it will be protected. But we are also working on providing the room for feedback, where the users will constantly give the feedback about the use of our application. And once they give the feedback about the use of the application, it will be easier for us to detect those gaps and challenges which might arise to the usage of this application, and make sure that we correct them before they stay too much time on the platform. That's how we are working on addressing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello? Yes, thank you, Eric, for this amazing presentation. So we'll have our last but not least innovator here on stage, and his name is Ernest Chimimana, and he has solutions for people with disabilities, but you'll see that it's not what you think.
Good afternoon. As you said, my name is Ernest Chimimana. Thanks for this opportunity to represent my project with my colleague. I'm biomedical engineering from IPRC. Our wheelchair is for connect girls and women with disability to move around independently. Our solution is to keep the women and the girls with disability to move around independently. As you know, in our culture, the women and the girls take all opportunity at home to do everything, to cook, for hygiene, and the problems is to need the manpower for pushing. Our product is to move that manpower, and people with disability move around independently without depending anyone. Is moved for using our phones, Android phone. That is our uniqueness, our speciality. Wheelchair moves with phones or other features. It depends the problems of physical impairment. I see our motivation is from the number of disability increase day by day and is attachable to technology. If you increase the technology of disability, there is big problems. As you said, this is our target. This is our target, or with all people pushing. We don't need that people. The next one. As I said, we come out with different features, and it's able to charging capacity with car, home, solar, and also you can use mechanical joystick. And also in the village, you can use it. Next. This is the benefit of our solution in our society. Our new technology is used for people to help each other. If you are home with disability, you can do anything without another person. But if you use our wheelchair, you can do everything alone without depending on other. And is also access to ICT because you come out for using phones or other things of technology. And other issue is, as a biomedical engineering, we can also do the maintenance of that wheelchair about 1 year or 2 years. Okay, next. Yeah, we have our prototype. This is our application for using to drive. Also, this is our prototype of trying to call out a working solution in a few days. And we are able to do 5 or 6 in a month if we get everything we want for moving without problems. Next. Yeah, this is cost depends on the features. But the big difference of our wheelchair in the market is different than other wheelchair. We can, as you see, this is the difference. If we buy our wheelchair, the difference is about around 1 million with all features. For example, wheelchair controlled by Android phone and joystick. There is mechanic and automated. We can the difference of 1 million depending on the other product in the market. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Ernest. Thank you. Thank you, Ernest. We'll have one question from the judges. Oh, you can also see a video.
Yeah, that's how moving.
How cool is that?
Light. Yeah, that's the movement of our wheelchair. It's for using Android phone in 40 meters, around 40 meters. Also, can use Wi-Fi? No, on internet. It's Bluetooth. Yeah, it's Bluetooth. We don't need internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. A cool design, efficient, doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is really inspiring. So we'll have one question from Fabrice, and then who is right there in front of you.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you for your presentation. Actually, I have 2 small questions.
Could you keep it to one?
I'll make
All right.
So I wanted to know the technology which you used, to use your phone to move the wheelchair. So you can use any technical term, I'll be okay with it. And my second question would be, you said that your wheelchair is very specific for women. I wanted to know, what did you add on the chair to show that it's very specific for women? Thank you.
The second question?
like you said that your wheelchair is for women. So I wanted to know, like, what did you add on your chair to make it very specific for women?
Thanks. I'm starting for the second question. Our specialty to a woman or girls is to help our society to increase.
No, I wanted to know, what did you add on the chair?
For women.
To make it specific for women.
You can make it where you put some things, a bag from on the market, where you put something of the girls, that bag can put around, and also we can teach, facilitate, we can add the technology for teach easily how using that wheelchair. If the person no education, you can use it, you can teach, you can add that technology for women and girls, facilitate to do everything at home, for take care of the children also. Also, we can add the where you put the children as take care as a woman or girls. Yeah, we can add more if to do the wheelchair as specialty of woman. As the second question, we can use our technology. We built electronic circuit with my colleague when we study. That is our technology for using Android Arduino. For using our technology, we build electronic circuit. That is our electronic circuit. And to the Bluetooth using application, our application for moving.
Okay. All right. I think we have it all. Thank you so much, Ernest, for this smart wheelchair. You can go back to...
Thanks.
Yes. So, there we have it. Our 8 innovators we've been presenting to us. We have our panel of 3 judges here from different capacities, from government, but also from sector. They're going to be given minutes to come together to come with an answer, but I'm being told that our young innovator number 2, Liz, if you remember, our student who came up with a Humidity Zen. I really love this name. That's really cool. So, Liz would like to switch. Little technical issues with the mics, but always you can come on stage, see your demo again. That's the house with windows that open themselves when there's humidity in the room. Do we have it? It's online, it's on video. Okay, great. So
hi again. Due to the air conditioning and everything, my system couldn't work, but I took it outside on video, and hopefully they're going to project so we can see how it works.
That's technology that works, so it's so sensitive that it can feel air conditioning. That's amazing. Could you from which school you are?
Gashua Girls Academy.
Okay, and how old are you?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know about you, but that deserves a round of applause in itself.
Thank you.
Virtual applause. And having the courage to stand here in front of these judges and
pitching and telling us about yourself. I think that's amazing. I guess the video is still loading. Okay. Are some of the your partners also from the same school what
Yeah.
you've been working with?
They're all from Gashora.
All from Gashora.
Yes.
Okay. I guess next time you'll invite us all the way to the school and you can have a live demo with windows being open in real time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I think we are now set.
I'm going to try to demonstrate how it works. Last time it wasn't working. So I'm going to increase the humidity. Wow. Okay, hi, it's me again, Humidity Z. I'm going to try to demonstrate how it works. Last time it wasn't working. So I'm going to increase the humidity using my air. I'll try to read for you the values. Right now it has not yet increased, but now it's 91.10% according to the humidity sensor. So, and now the alarm is sounding as well as the flashing lights that show that there is high humidity. Then we have to wait a little while for the humidity to fall back down so that the window can be closed again. The little white opening is the window that opened, and there is the screen that should be displaying. The values can be seen, but it was showing the humidity right then, as well as the white thing that is the humidity sensor, and small LEDs to show the alarm. 72. So, like I said, self-humidity is below 60%. So, yes, now it's at 57, and so humidity, the windows have to close. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. I wouldn't just say that's it, that's amazing. It's really cool. So thank you for showing us what you've been working on. Okay, you can go back to the rest of the audience. So we have now about 20 minutes for judges to sit down and come up with 5 minutes, I'm told, to come up with results. So I'll be taking some questions from the audience. I'm being told, so judges, if you want to sit together and have a conversation, now is the time for it. So we have a few questions from the audience. The first one comes from Anik Uera. So her questions goes to Kundwa, Eric. The questions goes like, how does Kundwa app help out those young girls who don't understand English? Actually, this goes to all solutions being developed. So the question's about language and English. So you can just take a mic from there and come on stage.
Thank you for that question. So our solution, I've made the presentation in English, but our solution will be available in English, Kinyarwanda, and French to help all kind of users without any language barrier, as we want to make it more inclusive and leaving no one behind.
Okay. I hope Anik is satisfied with that answer. Thank you, Eric.
Yes,
you can go back, yes. So, One of our judges had a question earlier that she couldn't ask. That is Agnes. I don't know if Agnes is right now online and she could ask a question. She is still logging in. She's now online. Great. Agnes, are you here with us?
Sorry you couldn't hear me. I had a question for Pascalina in terms of the flooding in Rwanda and her app. And if she has potential to, maybe as the prototype is being built, to include how many households or how many women are being affected by the floods, so that we can just get that gender lens in terms of how many women are being affected in the floods in Rwanda in each district. So that's the question I had, and I'm sorry you couldn't hear me.
Pascaline is here, but I think she has not heard the question properly. It's about how many women have been affected by the flood. Did I get it right?
Oh, so right now I don't know the exact statistics, but as you know, if the flood happened in some areas, so also women have been the victim, sometimes among the people who suffered a lot. So for us, we believe that flood risk will be the solution, especially for government and the development partners, because they are going to, the flood risk is going to help them to make decision. So I believe that women are going to benefit from that solution. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Pascaline. Is there any follow-up questions from Agnes? If not, then I will read 2 comments that have been shared on Zoom. The first one is from Jean de Dieu. I'll just read it out. Thank you for the innovative solutions and congratulations to every presenter. And I'm wondering how all these solutions can be taken up to another level of efficiency and contribute to women empowerment and reducing the burden to women so that they can get involved in sustainable development activities. That's my curiosity to everyone. There's a need not to leave this innovation here, but taking them to another level. I think that's a very relevant comment, Jean de Dieu. I think the fact that we have different actors in the room, from RISA and government to development partners to UN Women. I think from all of these different actors, we expect that they will continue to follow up with innovators, see how they can be supportive. Our private sector, which is also watching from online, is also invited to get in touch with us and see how we can scale these different initiatives. So thank you, Jean de Dieu. The next comment is from Organization of Women with Disabilities. And so I will comment on the following statement. People with disabilities cannot move around independently without depending from others. Not all persons with disabilities can move around, but it is not a matter of not being able to move around, rather a matter of facilities and barriers that they face. Otherwise, in many other circumstances, people said without disabilities cannot work, cannot refer to an outdated medical model of disabilities. Oh yes, this is a very relevant comment, pointing out to the kind of vocabulary that we should be using. Cannot is a word from the past, and thank you for clarifying that. Godos from UNABU. The floor is still open for questions as our judges are deliberating in the back. In the meantime, I'd like to invite you to follow our Twitter account, UN Women Rwanda. We'll be releasing also the names of each innovator that is here, so you can get in touch with them. We will only see growth when everybody gets involved, whether you are from an ESO, entrepreneurship support organization, or an investor, or from government, or from private sector. Please make sure that you connect with us so we can support these initiatives. The one thing that struck me from all of these innovations is how the diversity, first of all, of them. Literally every single sector you can think of, from cooking to gaming to more, I would say, pressing issues in our society, from flooding to, disaster management to sexual reproductive health. We have such a variety of innovators in our country, both young men and women, but especially young women, because they're the ones being celebrated today. What also struck me is how young some of these innovators are. I mean, I don't know what you were doing when you were 16, but I don't remember coding and coming up with prototypes where you can open your window with just a few sensors. I'm a software engineer by profession myself, and I can tell you that this is something that is worth our attention and support. I've been working with incubators and accelerators for the past, I would say, 5 years. And one thing I can tell you is that we're expecting you to reach out to us. The best way to do that is to, first of all, just arrange a few meetings with the ones that you've heard about, and probably you'll be sent back to, you'll be informed about other initiatives that are going on. Whether you are working with 250 startups, just to name one, or ESP, Westerwelle Startup House. So some of you need early stage support, and so that includes helping you to refine your business models, that also increase, how do you increase your sales, how do you create some traction on your platforms, and how can you become investment ready. So having everything legally and in terms of financial management also set up. So that's the exciting new stage for some of you here in the room. So usually there's a crowd cheering in the back. That's not the case today, but we are all here energized, waiting for our judges to come back and tell us who have been the winners and who will go to the next stage of this pitching competition. I'd like to thank again in person Madame Fatullah, who has been personally engaged in making sure that everyone who is here presenting makes it and has everything needed to present. So I'd like to thank you personally, Madame Law, for that and for inviting us here today.
While we waited, a woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
While we waited, a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
Women's rights were reversed, undoing years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn again,
we must begin to act.
For the 1 in 3 women who have experienced violence in their lifetime.
For the 47 million more women being pushed into extreme poverty because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
who deserve 50% of the power.
This year, leaders and changemakers will meet at the Generation Equality Forum.
a forum to build up and strengthen women's rights for generations to come.
Let's show that we're standing up
so equality can step forward.
And in a year where it's virtually impossible to meet, we'll meet virtually.
Don't wait. It's time to act for equal. While we waited, a woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
While we waited, a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
women's rights were reversed, undoing years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn again,
we must begin to act.
For the 1 in 3 women who have experienced violence in their lifetime.
For the 47 million more women being pushed into extreme poverty because of the pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
who deserve 50% of the power.
This year, leaders and changemakers will meet at the Generation Equality Forum.
A forum to build up and strengthen women's rights for generations to come.
Let's show that we're standing.
We are waiting for our judges to, in 5 minutes, they'll be back. It's so many great innovations that it's hard to make a choice. I just witnessed them having interesting conversations. Okay.
Gender equality has gained increased attention in our societies, but despite progress in various sectors, historical and emerging forms of gender-based discrimination call for more innovative ways to address the sometimes hidden manifestations of gender inequalities. As a champion for gender equality and women's empowerment, UN Women held its 4th Gender Cafe in Rwanda under the theme of Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights for an Equal Future. Gender cafes are quarterly platforms to promote learning and knowledge sharing on key gender equality issues, enable a wider public to connect with determined gender-related issues, while providing an opportunity to address remaining barriers in that area. Previously, UN Women, in partnership with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung in Rwanda, held gender cafes on positive masculinity, social norms and gender stereotypes, and bridging the gender-digital divide.
Today, UN Women Rwanda, together with its partners, organized a Gender Cafe. A Gender Cafe is a quarterly meeting that we have designed to facilitate dialogue, regular dialogue with our partners, whether from civil society organization, the private sector, government institutions, the media, academic institutions, and our sister UN agencies. And the idea of the Gender Cafe is to select a topic around gender equality issues and women's empowerment, and to invite a broad range of stakeholders to debate on that issue. Today, the topic that was picked is generation equality.
Childcare is a big issue because the government is doing its best to invest in ECDs and others, but the private sector and employers don't see that it's their problem to make women comfortable in the industry so that they can push. So that is the agenda which need to be shared, and my hope is that my daughter will live in a world free from violence, free from really discriminatory practices, because I can't say laws, because when we find any law which is discriminating, we immediately raise our voice and we see results. But the culture, the norms hasn't changed.
Don't do something for people. Help them to do something for themselves, and that leads to ownership, and it will definitely be sustainability. It might be funding, but also in terms of processes that they should own and make sure that, because I mean this is what Sweden does in our development cooperation. When we're assessing projects, we also make sure that we have a conversation with our partner that this is a project that has a lifetime, but don't think you'll overstay here. So you need to build a sustainability strategy within the project such that when you leave, the owners, that they really own and carry over what you have been doing.
The hope that I have is that we have space. We are here to discuss what went wrong, what can we do, what are the strategies, and this is the most important thing. Listening, but also commit to adjusting what we have been trying, what we have been piloting, what we want to scale. But also, we have good laws, we have good policies, and we have strategies. Let us keep on piloting, scaling, learning, and redesign, adjusting what we have been trying, and make sure that we go beyond one size fits all. We try whatever can contribute to what we want, gender equality. Thank you.
I agree with your question. Working with men and boys is a game changer, because men have to change their attitudes, men have to change their mindset, their practices, their beliefs, and their behaviors. However, having said that, I agree that we also need focus women's programs, because the end goal of working with men and boys is to promote women's leadership and women's empowerment. So I agree that all our efforts should not only focus on men. Yes, we need men engagement programs, but again we need focused programs on women only, and I believe that men should not be in all rooms, should not be in all campaigns. Thank you very much.
To set a model for girls, it makes leaders. It has been tested, and some people here can testify. So it's a challenge to us all. How do we make sure that these approaches are scaled up and also are sustainable? We talk about being
of a solidarity movement to carry forward these issues of women empowerment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the year 2020 was intended to be a year of celebration and renewed commitment for gender equality. However, as you all know, the spread of COVID-19 pandemic has radically disrupted the context in which we observe this milestone. As Rwanda, we do recognize and appreciate the support and collaboration of UN Women during the implementation of Beijing Declaration and Platform of Action that yield gains and lesson in gender equality promotion and women's empowerment.
Gender equality is one of the top 3 priorities of the Secretary General. We have made some progress. Now we have gender parity within the UN leadership, top leadership. and he has a clear strategy on that.
Yes, so judges are finalizing and being told. I'd like to thank all the innovators that have made it to this day. We've had a chance to speak to some of them yesterday as we were preparing for this event and just briefing them on what was expected from them. They are not all coming from Kigali, as you've seen. I'd like to also encourage you to go up country. For those of you who are in this supporting entrepreneurs, go out there, find out what's being done. There's a network of hubs, innovation hubs that's being built all over the country by RISA. The first one was opened on Monday in Huye. I think we've mentioned that in our conversations earlier. And I believe that the next one will be in Musanze, if I'm not mistaken. And so over the next few months, you'll have in every secondary city not only a facility that is being opened, but also a range of services that are available to young entrepreneurs for you to tap into. So you'll also have some makerspace, Fab Lab type of facilities. So for instance, for Orlise, who had a prototype to show to us, or for, I believe that was Ernest, also working on some hardware solutions. And this is the type of solutions facility that's been set up for you. I'll be also glad to connect every innovator to mentors and to different programs that are out there. Be aware that there are also new programs coming up towards the end of this year. We mentioned a network of business angels that is being set up right now. So these are people that can bring in some capital, but also some of the expertise. They're usually people that have been in the industry for some time and that have been working with banks, with telcos, with some of them are not residing in Rwanda. And these are individuals that would like to contribute to what's going on and help you to bridge this gap between coming from a very early stage to seed rounds or type of funding. So usually there's a big gap there in between in terms of accessing finance. So this is the kind of program that could be helpful. I believe the first pitches have, first pilot pitches have started with this network, and that is something that is going to be replicated and scaled towards the end of this year as well. I think one of the things also that was interesting is that there are solutions that are can directly help district leaders. So if some of you are working in communities all over the country at the district level, whether it is disaster management, we've seen also services to notify abuse at a district level. So these are solutions that we could also help pilot and scale all over the country and also beyond. All right, I can see judges getting inside the room. I will ask them to come closer to the stage, and I'll ask Shadrach to be the one to announce. You have to come here on stage, please. Yes. We would like to see you while you're giving your final verdict. Is Shadrach also joining us? Great. So we'll be announcing the two best solutions. And there's going to be also some rewards that will get to the innovators. So what I'll do is, Sylvie would like to say a few words about how the process went, and so I'll just give you the floor, Sylvie. It's from RISA and has been facilitating the organization of this entire event. Thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you very much, Sangwa. I'm happy, Shadrach and I, to announce what was happening outside. It was a group of really competent and experienced judges in the technical field, but also in the gender equality field. We had Shadrach, who's the head of programs at UN Women Rwanda, and Agnes in charge of innovation and partnership at UN Women Regional. Am I right? Yes. So there was different criteria. Initially, it was really showcasing innovations which can contribute to gender equality. And the competition was done from selected hub in Rwanda and in the regional. So we had hubs nominating members from their hubs. So they showcased the solution you have seen, and the judge based themselves on few criteria, like assessing the team, composition of each solution and the competencies. They focus on the solution itself, how relevant is it, and how is it impactful with gender lenses, of course, and solution scalability, solution uniqueness, and the product functionalities. So the award was grouped in two categories. In category of mentorship, as you know, to have a solution, it's a journey, and there are people behind that who are doing it. And the category of mentorship will be announced also by Shadrach, and the category of solution. You are welcome, Shadrach, to say the three winners. Though everyone is a winner, to come and state what we saw, it means there is something which was done.
Thank you so much, Sylvie, and thank you all who are here in the room at Marriott Kigali, and those who are following and just waiting for these tough assessment results. I'm saying tough because we've been actually challenged as judges to select the top among the best. And a round of applause to all the participants. We had 8 of them, and the findings from the judges state that overall we've been in face of smart young innovators with inspiring products and ideas. A round of applause to them, for all of us here in the room. So these are we would call them the ecos. But among the ecos, it has been hard to do the ranking. But based on the considerations and the scoring criteria that Sylvie has just announced, the hard task for the judges has been solved as follows. In the category of innovators, the top among the best emerged to be Keza Game. Keza Game, the first integrated 3D gaming and with some age specificities platform. Keza Game emerged as the top among the best innovators. Second best is AFSW, Affordable Smart Wheelchair for Physical Impairments. An already made solution. And exciting is the gender friendliness of that automated products, with the possibility not only for an automated wheelchair system, but with a possibility of having gender-friendly breast feeding facility embedded on the product itself. Very handy. A round of applause to the innovators behind that product. That is on the stream of the innovators. And you know, all of these innovators, those who have presented and those who would have loved to come and pitch their product and innovations, at some point, they have been able to produce what they have showcased, what they have presented, because of some systems. And that is mentorship, access to mentorship. So that is the reason why the judges are happy to announce that in the regional aspects of this gender cafe and the challenge of today, we've had participants from across the region. And the winner in the category of mentorship is Project Inspire, coming to us from Tanzania. A round of applause to Project Inspire. Project Inspire is not only providing a platform for mentorship, but with the facility and the affirmative action in terms of enrollment of young girls to their programs. And it's a program that stands high potential for scalability across the region and beyond. A round of applause once again to Project Inspire. As we said at the beginning, this was tough assessment because assessing the ecos, that brings me to say that on top of recognizing these top three, all other participants with their exciting products will have access and the privilege of having their products showcased through an access to a promotional video that will be showcased and led by UN Women and Partners, not only in Rwanda, but also regionally. And from there, All of them have been actually citing some of the challenges, scalability and all that. The exposure is the beginning of the solutions. Thank you. And I'm happy to give you back the floor. But with presentation, may I call upon Tess to help us present tokens of appreciations to these top 3 presenters. Tess, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much. So as you have noted, this is really homegrown solutions. In the same spirit, we thought about offering you what we love most, which is our home woven baskets. So, Sylvie, thank you so much. You have some other surprises in it, but this is from what we call homegrown. Made in Rwanda, homegrown solutions. We are thankful for you and all the best.
Keza Game, please come forward. AFSW. I'm sure your team is watching. Thank you. Project Inspire. Project Inspire, their prize will reach them conveniently. Something unique that we've had during this session is the youthfulness of the innovators who pitched their products and innovation. Unique and brilliant, exceptional to be recognized is our young innovator from Gashora Girls School. Please come forward for recognition. With the demo that we've seen and technology assisted, herself and her team, UN Women is committed to enable them to access mentorship opportunities in order to move forward and upscale their brilliant innovations and products. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for participating. Over back to you, to the moderator.
Thank you, Shadrach. Thank you, everyone, and all the participants. Like you said, everyone is a winner today, as we've been able to see what you've been working on. So I would like to introduce our last speaker for the day and for closing remarks. That is Anne Gituku Shongwe. She's the representative of UN Women South Africa, South Africa's multi-countries office, SAMCO, and responsible for women's empowerment and gender equality in Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, and Namibia, as well as South Africa, where the office is based. Anne brings to her role 20 years of experience as a senior international development professional, including working with the United Nations Development Program across Africa and managing US scholarships for African graduate scholars. So I would like to call Anne now to deliver her closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, Sangwa, for really carrying the day. You've been exceptional as a moderator. I hope you can all see me, yes. And thank you to my sister Fatou. Fatou, thanks for collaboration. It's been wonderful to work with you and really excellent to have had this opportunity to really showcase the work and the hope of that future generation that we have. I want to recognize the government of Rwanda who, of course, are leading the way and are global leads of the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation. And it is completely befitting because as we listen to all these different presentations by young people from Rwanda in particular in this instance, we know why you are a global leader for technology and innovation. So congratulations and thank you. The French Embassy for participation. We're looking forward to Paris and we hope that there'll be some recognition of this work that has happened here in Rwanda. RISA, Rashora Girls Academy, that was exceptional to see the young women. FAWE, One UN, we saw collaboration with other UN members. The panelists, the innovators from the panelists from the earlier session, that was a very exciting conversation and I kept seeing messages flying around about how impressive that conversation was. Innovators, I'll come back to that, and the logistical support from Clarity Communication, UN Women Team Rwanda. Shadrach, it was great to see you, as well as being a judge, as well as being sitting there at the front of the room. And of course, our colleagues and my sister Hodan Ado from the Tanzania office, who also joined hands to collaborate here and were able to bring on innovators from Tanzania, really, really exciting. My sister and colleague, Agnes Piri, who was also a judge alongside Sylvia and Shadrach. I want to thank you all for your time. This was excellent. I've been a judge before and actually been a technology entrepreneur in my past life, and therefore I understand how difficult it is to make these decisions. But I'm very excited about the judges, the judgments that came out from the innovators. And I know it's always hard in any kind of race to make this kind of decision. So Abby and your team, congratulations, Keza Game. And I suppose Keza is the same as Cheza in Kiswahili. I actually had a gaming company, so I'm very excited to see that we're going to be able to use a platform such as this to change the norms and practices and stereotypes that retain this gender inequality. So really looking forward to observing how you will use this platform. Maybe at some point we can connect and we can share with you our war stories for having run a gaming company in the past. Very, very excited also, and congratulations to AFSW. What I like about all of these innovators was the fact that you were looking at inclusivity, at innovation, at intersectionality in all of the different innovations. So whether it's looking at the issues of disability or dealing with the issue of unpaid care, I really loved that question that was asked. It is exciting to be able to see the way in which technology can actually get us to look, however microscopic an issue, but to find a solution that is a long. I'm also really happy about Project Inspire. You truly inspired us, and we're excited to see how that platform will be able to use mentorship. And I heard from our incubator star here, from our moderator Sangwa, how you actually have very strong programs in innovation and mentorship, in mentoring some of these innovators. So we are hoping, sometimes it's just that the criteria is not the criteria that you put on the table at this particular time, but I really like the ideas. I mean, Humility Zen, you know, there is a program that UN Women works with across Africa on climate smart agriculture. And I just, actually, as I was listening to you, I thought, wow, this is one of those innovations that could be applied directly to this kind of a program. Hope and Homes for Children. Go Cook. I'll definitely look you up because it's something that one really needs. Floodwiz, Kundwa typing application, really excellent innovations. And I want to congratulate each and every one of you for taking the time. Those of us who have been in this space know that it is not an easy journey, but I'm really, really grateful for that. And congratulations to you all for excellent, excellent, excellent work. From us at UN Women, you know, it's so important, and I hope that as you're seeing us sitting here with this generation equality behind us, you will keep in mind and bear in mind that we are, unless we move with innovation and technology in the way we're doing, we are actually easily 200 years away from seeing gender equality in our lifetime. So for you young ones, we will die off, you will die off, your grandchildren will go, your great-grandchildren would still be fighting to push for gender equality. So unless we want to be here for generations waiting to see gender equality, we have to do something different. And this is why we felt it was so important to have this opportunity to look for solutions using and leveraging technology and innovation. We have this global platform, and in this global platform, you know, things that we are pushing at the top globally in terms of innovation, bridging the gender gap in digital access, right? So I really liked that one that talked about, I think it was around how to use that app even on a wheelchair to be able to look at gender-friendly breastfeeding as part of the wheelchair facility. That's incredible. And that's really what it is that we're trying to think about as we look forward. Investing in feminist tech and innovation. This time we didn't have as many women as we would have wanted to have, but even the men who stood on the table were looking at those intersectionalities. And so it's not only about women, but it's about making sure that the feminist tech and innovation ideas and solutions are on the table. How do we mobilize one another? How do we deal with gender violence? How do we push for greater justice in the climate space? How do we move more women in leadership everywhere, right? So these are the things that we want, and technology and innovation showing us that. Building inclusive, transformative, and accountable, innovative ecosystems. So the wheelchair ideas that you have, the ideas for, you know, sort of broadening out access, all of that is what it is that we're looking for in this generation equality. We have 5 years, 5 years and then, no, 9 years towards 2030. 2030 is what we call the expiration date for gender equality. So on January 1st, 2031, we do not expect any more gender inequality. So we have 9 years, guys, 9 years. So all the innovators, Sangwa, as you're thinking about the work that you do, 9 years from now, we expect to have a full stop at the end of gender inequality. So let's think about what that means for how we innovate, how we use technology, how we bring new solutions, how we really answer the big questions that we've been struggling to answer for years. And then finally, how do we prevent, eliminate online and any form of GBV and discrimination that happens everywhere? And we know that cybersecurity has become the new space for violence. And it's become very intense because in this space, whether it's through dating platforms or it's through other kinds of simple platforms that we use every day, recruitments that are taking place of young women and girls in terms of trafficking across the world, you know, we have to plug into all these different platforms and start asking ourselves, how do we really use this technology and innovation platforms to change the game for women and girls everywhere, and for men with whom we hold hands and partner? So from us at UN Women across the world, from this region, from our partners, both in government and in civil society, from the private sector, from the French embassy. I don't know if Mexico was here with us as well, but maybe they sit here in South Africa. Here we work very closely with Mexico. We are so happy about today. We're excited, and we would just want to thank each and every one of you for your participation, for your contribution, and for your commitment. If there's one thing we want to take out of today, is the commitment to accelerate in everything that you do for gender equality, but also to make real commitments. How do we touch and feel 9 years down the road and know that indeed what we have done today is a commitment that will change the lives of women and girls? What do you do next? Ask yourself, is this a commitment? Or am I just, you know, hanging in there? Am I just doing something that's nice? Am I really committing to transformation? Am I really contributing to realizing women's rights for an equal future? From us, thank you so much for today. Back to you. Thank you. You're muted, so we can't hear you.
Remarkable remarks. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. This has been a great afternoon. We've learned a lot. We've seen tangible solutions and great products. The conversation is not ending here. We'll continue on our social media. Make sure you follow us on @UN Women Rwanda and continue to engage and to discuss these different issues and topics. With that, I would like to thank all our speakers, our panelists, our judges, and all the partners that were involved, and last but not least, our innovators for showing up today. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Sanwa. Well done.
Always. Thank you, Fatu. Congratulations for leading from in front. Very excited.
Thank you, and thanks to the team.
We have a virtual platform called Virtual Campus, where there's lots of people who are listening in who have been watching.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay.
Been watching from different platforms. They've been in this virtual platform as avatars and sort of walking around as they've watched the show.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. All the best. Bye-bye. And thanks to the team. Good job.
While we waited, a woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
While we waited, a mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
Women's rights were reversed, enduring years of progress. Just like that.
As the world begins to turn...
Judges, can you come on stage for a last picture?
Who have experienced violence
Fabrice.
in their lifetime.
For the 47 million more
we need to
women
take one picture with these signs.
Because of the
Thank you.
pandemic.
For the 50% of the population
who deserve 50% of the power.
this year leaders and changemakers will meet at the Generation Equality Forum.
A forum to build up and strengthen women's rights for generations to come.
let's show that we're standing up
so equality can step forward.
And in a year where it's virtually impossible to meet, we'll meet virtually.
Don't wait. It's time to act
Okay,
for equal.
the innovators, please don't go away. Make sure you're in the room. We're going to take another picture after this, okay?
While we waited, a woman was locked down with her abuser.
While we waited, a girl was forced out of school.
while we waited. A mother fed her children, not herself.
In the year the world stopped,
Women's rights were